survivor. I will survive, I will survive. And I'm a firm believer. Will forever strive just to stay alive. That simple means say, nobody can hold me apart. Nobody can drain my energy. Nobody can hold me sick. I will let alone negativity. Nobody can hold me apart. Nobody can drain my energy. Nobody can, nobody can. Everybody show me some strength. No weakness, show me a lion power. Strength, no weakness, show them who we are. Strength, no weakness, show me a lion power. Everybody strength, no weakness, show them who we are. And when you roll, your enemies they must tremble. Your enemies they must tremble. Yo, and when you roll, everything has to humble. Everything has to humble. I'm a go-getter. I just go hard, I just go hard. And I'm a kind of fella. Put my trust in God, put my trust in God. That simple means say, nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can drain my energy. Nobody can hold me sick. I will let alone negativity. Nobody can hold me.
Hey, what's up, Ridealong? Welcome to the ride. Welcome to Monday on the ride.
Gotta be strong in this time.
Yeah, Monday on the ride. And as you can see, it's very dark outside where I'm at. This happened to be one of my least favorite time of the year, fall, especially when the clock go back and it's dark like this at 4 o'clock. Absolutely hate it, right? Nevertheless, I'm here. Welcome to the ride, guys. How you guys doing? Welcome, 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 one and all. Let me see who's inside. We're in for a great conversation today, guys. Hey, Stedlin, how you doing? Lydia, Joseph, Lydia, James, Alicia, how you doing? Let me go ahead and share. Good evening to you. Yes, 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 yes. Also, guys, I have to say that the time went back, right? So right now it's 6 p.m. where I'm at. A lot of you guys that's watching us in Grenada and other parts of the Caribbean, it's 7 p.m., right? So this is the time. The show time hasn't changed. We're still at 6 p.m. However, your time may have slightly, your time would be 7 p.m. from now, okay? I tell you, I don't like this daylight saving time crap, you know. I'm not a fan. I am not a fan. I don't know anybody that's a fan, actually, of daylight savings time. Nah, nobody. All right. Let me share this program on a few more pages. Yeah. Ian Baker, how you doing? Mia John, how you doing? Everybody share? Everybody share? As soon as everybody share, I'm going to start because we have a very interesting program lined up for you guys. Boy. Over the weekend, this story made headlines. I think it was Saturday, I believe, either Friday evening or Saturday morning or whatever. I started to receive notification about this particular video that was circulating on social media. I later found out that it was a young lady by the name of Kemlyn Edwards in the video. Now in the video, she made numerous allegations on, just a slew of things. Very emotional. And you couldn't help but to watch the whole thing. The video was like about 27, 28 minutes, close to 30 minutes long. But the emotion that was exerted in it, not only from the fact how she described what happened, but there was so much different things that's happening. One, Kemlyn alleged that her 3 years ago, Her then 6-year-old daughter was somehow assaulted by a 9-year-old little boy. Children doing their thing, right? Things happen after that, but she also inserted another. Hold on, this thing just stopped on me. Yeah, she also inserted another element to the whole story, alleging that a said police officer and the abuse that he caused on her. So we're gonna touch on all of these things, right? But there are a lot of legal implications. There are a lot of legal things that we need to look at. So to help us with that, we have Ruggles Ferguson, who is a lawyer. So he's going to be listening and give us that perspective. And of course, we have Kemlin herself to share her story with us. So guys, it's gonna be a interesting program. So go ahead and share the program right now and get your friends engaged, because that's what we're going to be speaking about right now. Also, we give you guys an opportunity to call in a little bit later in the program to get your views on it as well. All right. All right. All right. Everybody share. I'm blessed. All right. One last thing I have to do. Alright, Tamika, thank you so much. Alright, let's start it up, guys. And help me welcome first time on the ride. Her name is Kemlin Edwards with us. Edwards, how are you doing? Welcome to the ride. Okay. Hold on. Are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Hold on. I'm not hearing you. Hold on one second. Let me fix the audio. I'm not hearing you too clear. Let me make sure that you're hearing us properly. Try again.
Yes, good night to you, Junior Judge, and to the host, to Mr. Rogers Ferguson, everybody, everyone that is sharing the live feed and good afternoon.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me just check and make sure that everyone is hearing you fine. Just stay right there. Guys, if you're hearing her properly, just give me a thumbs up. If you guys are hearing her fine, give me a thumbs up, because I'm kind of hearing her kind of muffled a bit. And I want to make sure that her audio is clear. You guys could understand her entire story. I will take it from there. Give me a thumbs up. If everyone is hearing us fine, just give me a quick thumbs up so we could go forward. All right, just give me a quick thumbs up, guys, so we could go forward if you're hearing her properly.
When I woke up this morning, I had reasons to shout. I know that Father God bless me.
Echoing and muffled. Okay, echoing and muffled. Let me try to fix that. Stand by, guys. Let me fix that audio so we don't have the echo and we don't have the muffle. She's a bit muffled. All right. Let me see if that fixed. Currently, try one more time. You back?
Yes, good night to you,
Okay. Do me a favor. Take out the headphones. And now take it out from the phone. Pull out the headphone from the phone and just speak to me without the headphones.
So, good night to you, Junior Judge. Good night to you, Mr. Rogers Ferguson. To everybody else that is locked on listening, wherever, everybody that is sharing life.
Okay. All right. I'm still not hearing you too well. Do me a favor. Go out and come back in. Just jump out real quick and come back in and see if that fixed the audio problem that we're having. Guys,
so you
just leave and then come back, and hopefully that resolves the problem. All right, guys, you want to stick around for this interview, because for the whole weekend, that's all people was talking about. If I could play back a portion of what was said, this is a portion of the video.
Yes. Hello. I'm live. Good morning, Facebook. I know it has been a while since I have come on this media to say anything, but this morning I want to address my case, my matter, to the Commissioner of Police in our country, Grenada.
All right, so we have her back with us. Let me see if we could make that connection again. Try again.
Yes, good night.
Right. Okay, that's
good
much.
night to you. Okay.
All right, yeah, that's a little bit better. So we're gonna work with that. All right, Cameron. So let's start from the beginning. You took to social media, um, and lay out a whole bunch of accusations, allegations in this particular case. Where did it take us back from the initial situation? Where did how this whole thing started?
Well, the whole thing would have started after I realized the movement's change in Officer Harris. Because when I newly came up on the hill here, I was living next door to him and he was very nice. I didn't have a fridge at the time and I would ask him for Officer Harris now and again. And he used to give me. That time he had a projector. He used to come out and show our movies on the projector. I sometimes go come out, I go popcorn, sometimes make juice and come out and we sharing up. Everybody used to get. And we had that nice little thing going. And I
Stand
used to be the one cleaning.
yourself a little bit. You're kind of off frame a little bit. Just put yourself a little bit more in the frame. Can we see half of your face? Yeah, that's better. Yeah, go ahead.
So it had times, not it had time. I used to be the one doing all the cleaning back then in that side of the apartment. That part of the apartment, I would clean in front of me, clean in front of him, the next man, and go straight down outside with it. And he used to tell me he appreciates me, he and his girlfriend, knowing that I is the person that live in there because I always cleaning. Before I come, his girlfriend used to be the one that doing all the cleaning. So I did like that until after a while, he would have given my children his internet password because my two daughters they was in Form 3 at the time. So we had a nice thing going if you understand. And then after, as time goes by, I used to make, fresh jokes. Sometimes I mopping the step or sweeping and he passing. He go slap me on my backside. He go squeeze me and these things and them. And he used to tell, I used to say, well, you have such a nice big bum inside there. Why interfering with mine? He used to say, you flow, girl, you have it. And until the jokes get a bit too uncomfortable. So when he come and I knew he was looking definitely to make the joke with me, I would prevent him from doing it. So when I see he coming, I stop in what I'm doing and stand up and watch him, and that kept him from slapping my backside in that sense of it. So I remember there was an incident when my I was inside bathing and my door was open because the kids was outside playing. So that day, his son ran come inside and look at me in the bathroom because we bathroom it was not separated. How the Chinese build the place here, bathroom and toilet is in one. And if you don't have a shower curtain, then everything exposed. As you come through the door there, for that bathroom, you will be able to see whoever is there. So when he ran come and he look at me, I call out to him and he laugh and he ran back. So while in the kitchen at one point in time, cutting up chicken, I heard he Harry's mouth. So I called him to relate to him that incident what took place with his son. And at the time I was telling him, look what happened, he whispered in my ears and telling me he sorry it was not him or the see me naked in the bathroom baby. And before anything further, he just shoved it on in my mouth. So one time as he do that, and remember my hand is in the chicken. I could have caught him with the knife, after retaliate, whatever. But I take a different approach. I chose to talk to him about it. So I was angry. I said, what's this stupidest thing? What can you think you're doing there? What is that? And then I started, getting vexed about it. And he was gonna place now. She did home, new man there home. I say, you man there home and you come in here and practice that. And he apologized. He said he wouldn't do it again. So after he apologized, he said he wouldn't do it again. I accepted it. And we keep that day for a little while. I remember an incident when one of my daughters, the second one, would have went to school a day and she wanted to go and spend time by her father family. And I forbid her from doing it, but she still went. So the Friday she went to school as normal and she did not come back home. And upon that happening, when I investigate, I was told that she went by her family side. So when I called them, I didn't get no response. Nobody was answering the phone. So I went to the station and made the report. They would have called them when I gave the number and the police get in contact with them. Then after doing so, they made allegations to say I was abusing her. So that is why she ran away. So when Grenville police investigated and they said that is what was said. So they said Child Protection Authority had to step in to see if such is the case they did. And after their investigation, it was proven false. So they sent her back to stay with me. And me and him having the kind of rapport we had, I asked him and his girlfriend to speak to their daughter-in-law. So they took her in and they talked to her and let her know I was a hard-working mother and I tried my best to take care of them. And what she did was not proper. And they spoke to her and asked her to apologize and thing, and it was good. After a while, he realized no, he was not able to continue making those fresh jokes with me again because I was tapping him in his tracks in terms of it. I remember one incident I was outside mopping and he coming out to tell me he had to talk to me, we had to discuss something. So I asked him what. Then he tell me he and the human realized the situation that me and my children have inside it, all four of them, me and them, in that one bedroom apartment, and them have a two bedroom. So he tell me housing building a house for him just now. So when housing finish building, they go turn over their apartment to me.
Right.
Thinking now, right,
I want okay. I want to go down. I want to talk about Harris and the alleged inappropriate behaviors of the police officer, right? But
mm,
I want to, because we have the lawyer here and
right,
he's not going to legislate the law here, but he's going to give us a legal advice based on the initial part of the story where you
right,
allege that what happened to your daughter, what happened
mm,
when you know what happened to your daughter, and subsequently what you did after you found out that this 9 year old allegedly molested your daughter. Tell us from that part. Tell us from that part with what happened to your daughter, and then I'll get Ruggles to comment on the case. So what happened to your daughter?
so the kids was outside playing. Um, the two of them, the big ones, was inside studying. And while a day, a separate children came with my children and they said that a little boy up here and they called his name and they said he and my daughter went in the bush and BWM.
Right.
So at that point, when they said that, I was angry about it. I called my children, I pulled them inside and I beat them. And I immediately went down with the children following me to go and report to the boy mother what they said took place. When I went there, I knock on the door, nobody answer, I knock again, and then he come out. When he come out in a fresh way, rude, telling me, his mother said, don't let nobody come here and don't let nobody talk to him or tell him anything. So I done been upset already. When he spoke to me, I realized that was rude of him. So I immediately they break up his which in their yard on their tree and I beat him. After doing that, I left and go back home by me. And it caused a bacchanal. Because auntie come up, his cousin come up, grandma, everybody, his
What did you
stepfather,
beat him? What did you beat him with?
appease with.
Okay. Did you punch him and slap him as well?
I did not punch it. I don't know if at some point in time I may have boxed him, but I know for sure I did not punch him. I was told it was said that he had a piece of wood and I beat him with it. If he would have been inside of the house when I called him, what would he have been doing with piece of wood inside of the house, if you understand? I don't recall at any point he having piece of wood and I taking piece of wood and beating it. I know
Okay.
I beat him with the piece of wood and I may have boxes.
Okay. Did he have any scars? Did he have any bruises after you beat him
Not,
up?
not
After you
at all. Not at all that I know of because the day, imagine the incident happened the night, and the next day he was in school just as my children was in school next day also.
Right. Okay. So because there's so many moving parts, I don't want to mesh.
Miss out.
Right. So because there's Harris, there is the what happened to your child, there is what you did, what action you took. So let's bring in Ruggles here. Ruggles, here's the situation, right? Her daughter was somehow allegedly molested by a 9 year old. She was 6 at the time. That was 3 years ago, right? So this incident happened. The mother took it upon herself to go to the child, and she admitted and actually pled guilty for beating the child. Ruggles, from that perspective, talk to us from a legal framework, from a legal perspective, on that behavior.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Junior. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, the special guest on your program. Yes. I know you raised some of the issues with me earlier on Junior. I didn't have time to check the tape, but I'm hearing the version given here, and uh, the issue as I understand it, though, is it Miss Edwards? Is it Miss Edwards?
Yes,
Sorry, Miss
Yes.
yes.
Edwards. Right. Yes. Though Miss Edwards hasn't finished the version, but just correct me if I'm wrong. Is it that she there was the allegation in relation to the 9-year-old boy? Something happened 3 years ago. At some point, she went to speak with him. Based on his response to her, she beat him with a peace whip. And what I get is that she was eventually charged. She went to court, pleaded guilty, and though I haven't heard, well, her version at the end of it, but from what you explained to earlier, was found guilty. Well, she pleaded guilty and she was fined the sum of, is it $1,500?
Yes,
Yes.
As I was told, and she seems dissatisfied with the result. Okay,
yes,
let me just indicate. So, do I have the that portion of it right, Miss Edwards?
yes,
Is it basically that? Okay, right. So let me just say, what the law is, and how the law operates in relation to these issues. And the first point that must be made is that two children were involved. Two children, the victim here and the alleged aggressor, both under the age of criminal responsibility, which is 12 years. So they are children, and what I would the first point I would wish to make is that uh, it is natural for Miss Edwards to feel angry. It is also important, though, that when these matters occur, then they should be brought to the attention of the authorities that are there to deal with these issues. I think the first error she made was to take it upon herself to beat the child. What happens then is that you would invoke the wrath of another family. She's angry, already justifiably angry, then beats the child, and then another family gets angry. And what happens is that she, as a result of the action she took, then gets the worst end of the stick. I know that she pleaded guilty in the circumstances. Now, the law protects children. So that's the first point. The law protects children, and they just like her daughter, just like the 9-year-old. And even if it was not 9 years, for example, we have what you call the Juvenile Justice Act that treats with children up to 18 years old. That when there are allegations against children up to 18 years old, there is a special procedure even for the police officers to deal with it. And it has to reach the attention of a probation officer who has to do an assessment. Basically, the long and short of it is to protect the child as far as possible, because what it means is that ultimately what happens is that the child, at the end of the day, even though a criminal act is committed, but then the law, the Juvenile Justice Act, sets out the parameters for dealing with the child. So I think the first problem, and Ms. Edwards must have recognized that in hindsight, the mere fact that she pleaded guilty when she went before the court. Now it's difficult. Junior, to comment on these issues without hearing both sides of the story, and
Yes.
it's something I want to urge. I want to urge. Every story has at least two sides, sometimes three sides, sometimes four sides. And one has to be extremely careful, especially when it's exposed to the world. And when I say one, everybody, yourself, Miss Edwards herself, because what one has to take into consideration, um, that there are laws against defamation. For example, this is not a situation where one is saying a certain police officer, um, and one is calling the name of a police officer, and we have to be extremely careful because one does not know what is the side of the story of that police officer. What I
Right.
would advise, if there is an issue with a police officer, then again, you can seek the assistance of the Child Protection Office Authority, because that is what they are there to do, to protect children. You can make a report to them. They provide support for parents. The ultimate responsibility is to protect the child. And in this case, the child I refer to here is the victim of the alleged sexual assault. And if there are issues with a police officer, the police officer seemed to be brought in a different context.
Yeah.
Certain
Yeah.
allegations about the police
That is,
officer.
that is another side of the story. That's why I wanted to compartmentalize the whole
Right.
incident, because that is one thing, that is another thing, and what the action that she took is another thing. So it's good to put it in perspective so we don't confuffle the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Precisely, because then it can be it can get lost. The story can get lost as though the police officer had some issue to deal with the child herself. And I'm speaking against the background of what you told me in brief before, Junior, not even hearing it no. But I would really caution against calling names of individuals. So, for example, if you are making a report to the police, you can make a report to the police community relations department, and to the commissioner, because you want the report to reach the attention of the commissioner. If any police officer is operating above the law or engaging in actions that are really incompatible or inconsistent with his duties, then you have an obligation to report it. But what I can say, you have to you have to be assured that when you come on a forum like this and you call names, for example, I'm dealing with a matter right now, I can tell you, where again, it's Facebook. Somebody came and told a particular story on Facebook, and it's now the subject of a defamation claim. And it is a claim that's for substantial sums. So I just want to caution, Ms. Edwards, I know that you would be angry. Of course, your first duty is to protect your daughter. And if what you saying from your perspective, your story, it is correct, then your first route will be to make a complaint to the police commissioner, through the community relations department. It is
Right.
better to take it step by step.
Right.
As the saying goes, hasten slowly. Give the individual who is accused an opportunity to respond to you. You know, at
Right.
the end of the day, you might not feel vindicated. You might still have some worries, and you might be able to take it elsewhere. But I see somebody is saying here, how come the guy is seen as the victim? And maybe that was a misunderstanding of what I'm saying. I'm
Right.
saying the victim is referring to the girl child, of course,
Yeah.
and the alleged aggressor being the boy,
But
right?
in
However,
this,
these are allegations, and
yeah.
there are entities to investigate these allegations, and it
Right.
is important that that be
So
pursued.
Kemlin, the first
Yes.
instance you have this situation where this happened to your daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and that frustrated you because you felt like action was not taken to protect your daughter. In addition to action not being taken, you will also find $1,500 in court, but that is separate to action not taken on your daughter's behalf, right? You getting charged $1,500 is because you pled guilty for beating the child.
Well, I was told if I do not plead guilty, I could be in prison for 6 months. I could face prison by the lawyer that was representing me and by the magistrate. The magistrate said if I did not plead guilty, I was going to make things harder on my part. So that was the reason for me pleading guilty, knowing that I did beat him with the peace whip.
Right. No, that's understandable, right? That's understandable. And as I said in my video, I understand the frustration and the anger because you felt like this happened to your 6 year old and nothing has been done. You took action and look what's happening to you. But we have to
Right.
understand and
Mhm.
put this into perspective that's not the same instant. That is two separate things. Now, as I also said, and
I'm
probably
sorry, what was the charge? By the way, what was the charge?
Causing harm. They said I caused harm to
Oh,
him.
causing harm.
Right.
Yes.
So the magistrate said how his eyes, they said his eyes was swollen, it was dark, his left side of his face was swollen and all these things. And for the past years, the matter had been through the court. The children would have been in counseling with Child Protection Authority, social services. The matter before this one Friday, it was requested that they should have gotten counsel. All the she did said, because it had one session I would have missed. I didn't know the date. My lawyer didn't inform me. I guess at that time I didn't have a phone and all these things could have been into play. So this time she would have got to me and told me if I didn't come that I would have been bench warrant. And I know I did not want it to miss the court. I didn't miss it purposely. So I made myself available for it. So I was hoping that the statement, the investigations that Child Protection Authority, social services would have done, their finding would have been presented in the court also. I was hoping that my case from my daughter's side would have been heard and that justice would have been solved also. And nothing about how was being said. Everything was based on I beating him. They say I causing harm to him.
Okay. Okay. Maybe
Mhm.
I can clarify that, Junior.
mhm,
You see, what in this case, obviously a report was made subsequent to the beating of the child. A report was made. Arising from that report, a charge was laid against her, as she has indicated. It's a charge for causing harm, was laid against her. She now indicated that she was represented by counsel, and the magistrates made certain statements that she understood to mean that if she didn't plead guilty, then things would be worse for her. Now, I have my doubts as to whether the magistrate would have said that. Maybe what the magistrate said, that was her interpretation. Because if the magistrate said that, then that would not be proper on the magistrate's part. Um, she has indicated that she was represented by counsel. And what a lawyer who represents a client does, based on an assessment of the case, would advise accordingly. So, for example, if one has a good defense, then one can plead guilty and a trial is held. One can plead, sorry, not guilty. And if the plea is not guilty, a trial will be held. And the magistrate in this case will determine whether the person is guilty or not guilty. If the plea is guilty, then there is no need to hold a trial. What happens is that they go straight to the sentencing stage. And from what Ms. Edwards has described in terms of interaction with the child, is that well, she did it. So in a sense, there is no defense in the circumstances. What may possibly happen? By the way, Ms. Edwards, how long after you said the incident with your daughter happened about 3 years ago? When
Yes.
the incident with the child, when did the incident with you and the child happen?
When the incident with the child and me happened,
Uh-huh.
yes, it was that same time around the 12th of September, um, 2018, I think. 12th of September, 2018.
That's
The
the
12th is
incident.
thereabout.
That's the incident with your daughter. That's the incident
Yes,
with your
yes,
daughter. Okay, and
yes.
when was the incident between you and the boy? With the beating of the
Same
boy?
time. It was the same
Same
time. After
time.
same day when the kids came and said, "Look what happened." Remember,
Oh,
I
you
went
mean
down to
later in the day?
yes,
Oh,
the
okay,
same
right.
night, not so much later. Right after the children came to complain, I
Okay,
beat mine and sent them inside, and then went to his parents to tell. And that is when I would have beaten him when he answered the parents was not there and the rudeness he gave me.
right. So as I say, I understand the emotion, but
Okay.
then one, as much as one was angry about it, then that course of action would not be permitted by the law, especially when a child is involved. Now, the other aspect in
Mhm.
terms of what happened between the child and the young boy is something, of course, that ought to be investigated and ought to be have been dealt with in a sensitive way, so that at least Ms. Edwards would feel a sense of justice at the end of the day. So, this is a classic situation of two wrongs can make a right or wouldn't make a right. The beating of the boy, irrespective of the circumstances, would not make it right to do it, because in any event, that beating would have been based on a report that was made to her. And as I say, justifiably angry, but it was not the best thing to do in the circumstances,
Right.
especially where it involves a child.
Ruggles, what is justice in the case where you have a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old were, well, alleged to have molested a 6-year-old? They're young, they're children. What is the judicial process? I know there's no they're not going to arrest the child, obviously, but what is justice in this case? What usually gets done to that juvenile?
Right. Now, the a very good question, because the child would not be at the age of criminal responsibility. That's just the law to charge the child. A 9-year-old would not be charged in those circumstances. And even when persons are over 9 years, a child is considered 18 and under 18, and under the Juvenile Justice Act, there is a particular process, right? Process that one goes through. Now, all these processes, by the way, are not just common to Grenada, but they arise from the international bodies, from the United Nations, for the protection of children. So there are laws that originate internationally that are in keeping with international standards for the protection of children. Now, what happens if there is no criminal responsibility? There may be civil responsibility for a child that does a particular act. There might be civil responsibility. And where there is civil responsibility or liability, no, it falls on the parent, becomes responsible. And a parent can be sued as the next friend or guardian of the child. So usually then it falls on the responsibility of the parent, not the child, especially in the context of a 9-year-old.
Yeah. But how do you prove the allegation that's at hand right now? Now, did he sexually, did he just touch her? Did he penetrate her? What I mean, it's a tough thing to talk about because we're talking about little kids. So I'm sorry if it sounds graphic and probably bad. But did he just touch her? Did he do anything physically more intrusive to her?
Well, she would have said he told her take out her panty and lie down, and then he came on top of her and put his penis inside her. That is what her report says.
Okay,
So,
all right.
yes, let me just say on the other end of it, Miss Edwards, it is important, in fact, when dealing with issues relating to children, whether it's your child or anybody else's child, when these matters are being dealt with, identities are preserved as far as possible. And that's why it is so important that these matters are handled through the correct channels and to be handled as sensitively as possible. Because what obviously comes out here is that there needs to be some counseling. Counseling maybe needs to have some serious counseling and professional help. Now, irrespective of how angry we may feel, right? Angry if one does not take, especially when it involves children, early preventative measures, then you're creating a problem for the future.
Yeah.
And that is why there are so many mechanisms in place. There's an entire Child Protection Authority to provide both the victim and the aggressor, child aggressor here, with the appropriate counseling and guidance to overcome this issue. Because what one does not want a situation, and you know how society stops, where children can be identified, and become target of other children, either targets of teasing or whatever. So again, as far as possible, and that's why it's important not to call names now. The salacious among us, of course, would want gory details, would want names to be called.
Yeah.
Of course, until one's own child becomes involved in a situation, and like a natural mother or parent, you'll want to defend your respective children to protect. That's how human beings are made up. And that is why I make the point. Junior. And my points I am just speaking from a standpoint, not even of opinion here. I'm just saying what the law is. I have
Right.
to accept the law as it is. And we have to accept the law as it is until it is changed, or until if we don't like it, we lobby to change it. So what
Right.
I'm giving is not my views, but what the law is and how the law treats with these things. So, for example, and I mean, just to give an example, there was a situation in a particular school where one child pelt a mango and hit another in the eye, and caused that child to be blind. Right? Two young children, again, two young children in primary school. In primary school. Now, the parents, unfortunately, it reached court, and it is still in court. So I'm not going to comment too much on the details of it. But they are all two young boys, in a primary school. It just happened that one got the worst of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it could have easily been the other way around,
Right.
where the victim becomes the victim's mother becomes the aggressor's mother.
Right.
And there has been a lot of discussion among both sides. And, there was a particular session where these two young boys were friends. Now,
Right.
one is blind as a result of the action of the other. You know what can happen if this matter is not managed carefully? The children, especially the victim, can grow up hating
Right.
the other one,
Yeah.
right?
A
It
lot.
just
A lot there, Rogers. But here's what I want to get to. Right. Sorry to cut you. Now we have this situation here where you mentioned that the parent could be fined civilly for the action of the child because he's a minor. Now, how do you prove that the action actually happened? How do you prove sexual assault, as was mentioned there, on that child so she could take to get a recourse for her daughter? What legal channel does she need to go to get some kind of recourse for what happened to her daughter? Is there anything that could be done?
well, and that's why no, this incident happened 3 years ago. From what she indicated. Did you report it anywhere at all when it happened? Apart from the issues with the child, did you report it anywhere?
I did went to social services at a point in time to report it, and they told me that is not the protocol and the way things work. They tell me I had to go to the police and report it, and the police take it from them, and they take it, from the police.
So you
So,
made a report to the police.
right, remember I did go to the police to report on 3 occasions before getting any attention. The night of the incident, the morning and the evening, is when I went
Okay,
to Maryville and I explained to the doctor what happened. He then called Grenville and they was lying and said that they told me come back and I did not. When I would have gone and no attention was given to me or my daughter.
right,
So,
right. And that's the other side, Junior. That's the
Hmm.
other side. Is the sensitivity
Yeah.
to these issues, and whoever is dealing with them, then they need to be sensitive, because obviously she would be angry. She might say certain things that she may not ordinarily say, but those things, when you are discharging professional duties, ought not to be held against you. But it should be, and I'm not saying because I'm just hearing what Ms. Edwards is saying. Um, so I don't know what the other side is, and I want to make that clear. But
Yes.
in a situation like that, the a report, when the report is made, whether to the police or not, it should be brought to the attention of the Child Protection Authority.
Right.
A matter like this, and then the professionals take it from there, and move on, do a proper investigation,
Right.
because if that has happened as described by Miss Edwards, then what it would mean is that there is need for counseling,
Yeah.
first and foremost, for both children,
Both children. Yeah.
right?
Point.
Both the
Yeah.
victim, and then it's taken there. Um, Miss 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 Edwards is involved in the process, just like the
Yeah.
other parent is involved in the process.
Right.
And there should be at some stage in the process some allowance to let the parents meet and engage and speak, because
Right.
it's not the parents' fault, quote unquote. It's children involved, and the counseling process should involve the parents engaging. So at the end of it all, there is a sense of satisfaction from all parties. There is a sense of win-win,
Yeah.
because it's addressed in a particular way.
But
What
in
I am hearing, Miss Edwards,
Miss
is
Edwards,
seeming to say that everybody ignored her.
right.
Right. So she
Right.
took the situation. She felt that she had to do what she did.
Kemlin, when you had conversations with the child's parents to try
I,
to figure this thing out?
I tried the day after the incident took place. I saw her in Grenville and I went over to her. I said, "Good morning, Miss Jocelyn. You
Not
heard
no,
what take place
No call
today?"
names. Don't call names, Miss
call the name.
Miss.
Oh,
Remember, I say
right.
these
Yeah.
are children. You can
Yeah.
make the
I
point
said, "Good
without calling
morning,
names.
Miss. You
Buddy.
heard what took place last night?" And she said, "I have nothing to say to you. I have nothing to say to you." Just like that. When we went to the counseling session in Child Protection Authorities, they let us know that it would have been better if we as the parents try and handle the matter, seeing as the children was minor. So at a point in time, they would have asked us to speak to each other and to be friends with each other. But at the same time, that was not taken place. Nothing so. We didn't get counseling in terms of having we together and seeing that we became friends during the process. It never happened. Just while we was there in the session, they asked us to be friends with each other and pass and say hi to each other. And while I is the one that is the stranger in the community, she is surrounded by friends and family because they're from around, and I is the outsider. When I pass, everybody is mid about talking, so I kept to myself. I remember when I went to visit the lawyer, and my boyfriend was telling the lawyer, "Hello, he tell me keep my children inside. The people up here is not easy to deal with." I was telling him I want my children to socialize and have friends. We can lock them up. And she, the liar, was warning me that he know the people better than me since he would have been long in the community staying. And she was telling me my daughter is the victim, so keep her inside, keep my children inside. The day of the case, Friday gone, she was telling me, go to her and make up the matter, go to the mother and be friends with her. After she would have told me, keep my children inside and stay away from those people. So I'll have you take it. I confused her in circle because one minute she tell me we would have been able to cross charges. Once they're charging me, then we will be able to cross the parents for the action of the child. And nothing so has been done either.
So the frustration amongst Ruggles, sorry, the
Mm.
frustration amongst because one, she don't feel like she is getting any recourse for what happened to her daughter. She's very frustrated, and nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. She not hearing anything that now the case is moving along. She not getting any updates. I mean, it's no reason to take matters into your own hands.
Right. And you see,
But
that's a separate. That
is a
has
separate.
become a separate issue, right? That has become a separate issue, and normally, no. In other words, what you have here, simply put, is one. There is an allegation of child against child. That is in relation to the actual alleged act that Miss Edwards refers to, and then there is one parent versus child. I mean, I think from basically the reactions of Miss Edwards and her responses, she seemed to have thought that there would be some. Yes, she gets charged for the child, the incident with the son,
Right.
but there was an expectation that the there would be a charge to in relation to what was done with her daughter. Um, but in those circumstances, based on those fact situations, it would not work out exactly like that. I think what I mean, I don't know what was done, and I want to make the point again that it's important to hear all sides before pronouncing. That's a basic rule. It's a basic rule whether we are involved individually or people close to us are involved. Is a basic rule that we try to hear what the other side says. Now, I heard Ms. Edwards mention that about counseling. I assume that is with the Child Protection Authority because she was saying
Yes,
they were trying to encourage both parents to have a discussion to see, how the situation could have been resolved as amicably as possible, which includes the incident with the boy between herself and the boy. But apparently that did not work out from what she is saying. And whether it didn't work out because it wasn't managed properly, or they may have left it up to the two warring mothers, not played an important role to try to bring them together through third parties. Um, I don't know, but it seems as though an attempt was made to do that. What Ms. Edwards is saying that the attempt seemed not to have worked out.
Is it too late to resurrect some kind of justice for her daughter? It's been 3 years. Um, at this point, we have gotten this far. What is the next recourse? What is her next recourse if she wanted action and justice for her daughter?
Well, from what Ms. Edwards indicated, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Edwards, you also approached the Child Protection Authority on this matter.
yes, when I did not get through with the police, when nothing was being done about it, when I realized nothing
Mm,
was being said on my daughter's behalf, it's like she wasn't giving any attention. I went
mm,
to social services and they let me know it's not them that dealing with that side of with that type of work. They told me, go to Child Protection Authority when it comes to children. And when I went there, then them tell me they don't deal with matter from the parents like that. The police have to send the parents to them, or the police have to direct them, give them the initiative. They don't work just like that with parents. That is what I was told. I was told the policy had to come from. So I only got we only got to the counseling part when the magistrate added it, not this last magistrate that was there now sitting on it. The case that I would have been to before this one Friday gone is when the magistrate added the matter for these people to investigate and to walk along and to bring a report. So I am saying after they would have had counsel a couple months and I ask how my daughter was doing in the sessions. When I go to the Child Protection Authority, they call me and tell me she was doing well. There was no fault found in her. They didn't see any lies in her. So I was expecting that to be said in the court Friday gone, and there was no representative from social services or Child Protection Authority. Another thing I am saying here is that in the court Friday gone, they said the child was accompanied by Officer Harris. That is what I was told ever since. And in the station, you hearing I was in the station today when I went to the police because I was invited to have a meeting with them, and they said the child was accompanied by the grandmother. So all how you take it, you hearing different statements and different stories.
right. So you see the um and I would say that for your own good, irrespective of who may try to push otherwise, like the drama of it all. But if you have a report of such a nature against any officer for whatever reason, then you should um, make the report to the police commissioner there and let them take the appropriate action, because you want the report to have some credibility as far as possible. And what you don't want is a situation where it is felt. Remember, these allegations are in law, they can be made against anybody. They are easy to make and difficult to disprove at some point in time. Now, if it is a situation where it's a serious allegation, then you have a right to make a report. But you have to be extremely careful coming on social media and calling names in particular. I can say so because I have had the experience with persons at both ends of the spectrum. And remember, when these things go a particular place, it's not judged on the basis of the law of public opinion, but the law as it exists. So
Right.
I understand, or I expect, because this matter has reached where it has reached, then there would be some reaching out. You would hear different stories as to what may or may not have happened. But at the end of the day, what I can tell you is that what the law seeks to do ultimately is to protect the interests of the child, right? At the end of the day, your child, from what you're saying, have been a victim, and she ought to get the proper professional help along the way to assist her to overcome whatever may have happened. And if, as you say, these are the allegations, then there would be a duty to assist. That much I can say. There is not just a duty, but a professional obligation to do so. And I would, from what you said, it's already went to social services. The Child Protection Authority would have been involved. The police would have been involved. And it's important to know, well, what is the state of things? What measures have been taken to assist the child, female child here, to overcome whatever was the experience. And that is where the state's professional machinery is put at the disposal of the individuals. But what
Right.
I would say, and for the future, not just for Miss Edwards, but generally speaking, irrespective of what we may think that it is, as I say, it takes a village to raise a child. But when there are offenses committed against children, from whatever perspective, the law takes a very dim view of it, because the law is designed to protect the child. So
Well,
it's
at least at
important
least it
not to
should.
take.
At least
Yes.
it should. And I'm when I heard the story, I I understood Kemlin's position, emotion, not decision, but emotion, because we get calls a lot, right, where people feel like justice is just not working for them, right? It just they feel like they are always being they always going through the process of not getting a final result for their particular case. In children cases in particular, I've covered several stories where mothers report of abused by an elder, by a cousin, by a whoever, and they would go to court, and the person would get a $1,500 fine. It just seemed like it's not working in the interest of the children, and that is not something we could litigate here, because it has to do with the laws in particular, and it's a different story in this case because we're talking about two children. But I think that as it relates to child and child safety, I think more need to be done to protect the children, because it looks good when we speak about it, but is it practical? Is it working practically in the interest of the children? And a lot of times I'll say no, man. It just don't seem as it's working in the interest of children. It looks as if it's working against them. So how frustrating is that she don't feel like the justice was working, and that does not justify her action. I'm not sitting here saying yes, she go ahead and do this. I'll be the first to say she shouldn't. I don't think she should take matters in her own hands. But I understand her emotion, because she don't feel like she's getting justice. She has been getting justice for in this case.
Well, yes. So one has to separate, Junior, the issue. In fact, let me make the point that it is the kind of case, if it comes to the attention of the Child Protection Authority, whether or not the mother complains, just because of the role of the authority. Because remember, the authority can get orders to remove children from parents whom they believe or have reason to believe, based on evidence, that these children are not, these parents are not working in the best interest of the child. So actually, what both the law, the courts, and the Child Protection Authority do is to ask the question, what is in the best interest of the child? What is in the best interest of the child? And therefore, whether or not Miss Edwards is Miss Edwards' daughter and she makes a report or not, once that information reaches the attention of the, in this case, the Child Protection Authority, then the mechanisms would be put in place to address it. Whether or not Miss Edwards lobbies for it or not, because
Right.
that's part of the inherent duty of the system, the Child Protection Authority. But I'm also saying that two wrongs can't make a right.
Yeah.
And I think we accept that two wrongs can make a right. And what is important is that when these matters of such sensitivity are brought to the authorities, they themselves have to be conscious and deal with it in a way that everybody feels satisfied at the end of the day. Now, sometimes it's difficult to achieve that, but
Right.
that certainly has to be the aim.
Right. All right, guys, let me summarize it here, guys. You're watching Right Along Live, and we're talking about this case that made its wrongs through social media over this weekend and putting it into perspective. I know the video was very emotional. There was a lot of things in the video, but we have to dissect the video because there are a lot of moving parts and some that doesn't really correlate to the main point, right? So we have a situation, as we mentioned, where a child was somehow allegedly molested, right? A 6-year-old allegedly molested by a 9-year-old. That's one part of it. Then we have a situation where the mother then met with the 9-year-old and said that she pled guilty for breaking a whip and beating the child, right? Other folks in the community reached out to me. They said it was more than just the whip. That's allegations. So there are multiple people are saying different things as it relates to that. But anyway, she pleaded guilty for that. She was charged $1,500 for her action that she took in beating that child. At this point, there have been no recourse for what happened to her daughter. But I understand that because the child is only 9 years old, we don't expect that them to put the 9-year-old in handcuff. Now he's 11 right now. We don't expect that they'll put him in handcuff. What could be done? What action could be done? Rogers is saying some civil actions could be done, taken against the parents, proving that might be at this point. I'm not sure if that could be proven without a reasonable doubt. But it's something that we could look into. The third thing that this video spoke about, and I don't want to go too deep into it yet because there are difference of stories as it relates to that. But her story, her video basically spoke about she being obstructed by a certain police officer who she said is antagonizing the situation and making it more difficult for her in a place that where she lives. Does the police officer have anything in particular to do with the child and the beating of the child? Edwards?
Hey, repeat that. I didn't realize it was me who was
Yeah, no,
repeating.
the third thing that we want to touch on again, we can go
Right, I understand. You're asking if the police officer related to the child?
right.
No.
So the police officer have absolutely nothing to do
No,
with the
no. Right.
okay. So the police officer just happened to be someone that lives in the neighborhood, that lives in the
That's it.
area, and
Mm-hmm.
allegations is that he made passes, sexual advances. Have you ever reported him? Have you ever reported the incidents?
Yes, several times. Several times. That's what I said in the video. That's why I say in the video, all of the reports I have made against him, none has been forthcoming. Nothing was done. But when he brought me up, each time of the case, I had to go there. Otherwise, I was being one that I would have been bench warrant. But he never showed face to any of those.
Right,
Just as when he would have accounted for arresting my boyfriend in town also. And nothing coming out of those incidents, those cases was reported.
right. Ruggles, what is the course of action? Because she's alleging that the police officer is using his badge and his power to molest her allegedly and making her life a living hell, and not no action is being done even when she reported. What action could be taken to correct that wrong?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say again that one has to be careful about having called the officer's name. What I would say in any circumstances where that has happened, if it's an officer and there are certain complaints to be made, if you're having problems in the normal, you go to the station and make a report. There is the police community relations department. You can write to the commissioner. You can get an attorney to handle the matter and take it further. All that I'm saying is one has to be careful. And whatever people say, and what I will always do is to ensure that when I speak here is not to appease the general public, because my role is to say what the law is. I didn't make the law, by the way. That's just
Right,
the law as it is. And what
right,
I can say, and if I'm giving information, is in accordance with not what my personal views are. But we have had all of these examples where people feel, listen, that the lawyer, as she said, she feels the lawyer would not have represented her as best as he could in the circumstances. But that doesn't necessarily follow, because the lawyer advised that she plead guilty, simply because that if they had gone through a trial and there is no defense to the action, what will ultimately happen is that she would get a stiffer sentence if found guilty. So there are certain advantages of pleading guilty without going to trial.
Right.
And if that, based on the evidence that the lawyer sees, is the best route to go, then that is what you would be advised to do. A magistrate would hardly insist that somebody pleads guilty.
Right.
That if that happens, it really, really happens. And even judicial officers need to be careful about what they say
Right.
in the circumstances, in these especially very sensitive
But
circumstances.
the truth is always the strongest defense. So if she has proof that she could back up her story and she has truth in her part, she could say whatever she could say this with conviction because she have truth on her side, right? Uh, she is making the allegations that this said police officer did this stuff. Edwards, what do you have any other eyewitness to any of the allegations as it relates to the officer?
Yes, I was arrested because I and neighbors was cursing, and he came in and side with the neighbors that was cursing with me. And he said he was going to call the police, and neighbors spoke on my behalf and telling me can't call police to arrest me alone when everybody else was getting out. And he did it anyway, and I alone I was arrested. And when I got to the cell and they kept me there for the night, and I made the report in the community relations department outside, nothing was done. The officer they told me for the matter to go forward, I had to come home and get the neighbors that saw to come down and make a report. When I told him they could have come to the community to get them to get their story instead of I having to come and bring them down. I told him the neighbors said they don't have no problem with talking. All he needs to do is to come and investigate, and they refused. And when I reached out to St. George's on the 4th and I went and make my report, then they called Grenville and had them come up to investigate. And I was called back and told just what I said took place. That is what took place. So they had that matter thrown off in the case.
Right. So
So isn't that good to know?
yeah, it's a case where she feel like the system is against her because they would the she, in her words that the police officer has some malice to her, so justice is not flowing as how it should. She's getting arrested when everybody was cursing. She feel like she's been targeted at this point in time. Ruggles, she need to take this to the commissioner of police, right? If that is the case.
Well, yes, that's the route. If you have to complain against a police officer, then you take it to the attention of the police commissioner. All that I'm saying is that you don't, and just look at the history. What happens? Her daughter is a victim, right? Her daughter is a victim. What happens, as many times the case, the victim gets angry and the victim retaliates. And you know what happens? The victim gets charged.
Yeah.
That happens lots of times. The victim
Yeah.
gets charged. The victim now feels more oppressed, feels even a greater sense of injustice. So all I'm saying, and that's the only point I'm making, that at the end of the day, what you want to ensure is that you don't do anything that would further defeat your good cause. That's all
Right.
I'm saying. And
Right.
therefore, one has to be extremely careful as to how one manages it and handles it. Because I'm sure, and knowing a lot of the folks who are in probation, who are in the Child Protection Authority, they have a very zealous side. I'm not saying all of them do, but some certainly I know who will go out of their way to assist a child victim. right? That's what I'm saying. And that's what you want at the end of the day, not the comments of parents, of others, is not as important as protecting the best interest of the child, which is what Ms. Edwards is saying, that she wants justice for a child. At the end of the day, she wants to ensure that the child does not have any permanent, does not experience any permanent damage as a
Right.
result of this incident. And
Right.
therefore, what you want to happen is that this child gets professional treatment that she's
Treatment.
not able to give in circumstances like that.
So who
But
pays for
the
who pay for
states,
that? Who pay for
sorry,
that? Whose financial responsibility would that fall on?
well, it will fall under the state's responsibility unless she wants to take somebody privately to do so.
So
But
she
there
should appeal to the
are,
state, should appeal to the state to get counseling for her daughter, right? Because her daughter needs the counseling. Should she appeal to the state to get financial assistance for counseling for her daughter?
well, certainly, and I am saying, Junior, that the the Child Protection Authority can mobilize such professional assistance and treatment,
Right.
because whatever we say here at this level, whatever we say here, at the end of the day, there is a child who needs assistance. There is a
Right.
child who needs professional help. And we can't miss that in the equation.
Right.
So, what I'm saying, what is the most important thing for the child is for the child to get the requisite professional help.
Edwards, was the child offered any counseling or any assistance following what happened from child protection?
Yes, I said for the past 3 years, while the case was ongoing, a couple of months, Child Protection Authority had both children coming in the office and taking counsel. So
Okay.
that's what I was saying. Friday gone, I thought their report would have been brought back to the court as the magistrate would have requested them getting the counsel. But nothing so was done. That's what I was saying.
Right.
Because
Okay.
you see, and that's the point, Junior, because I'm hearing us saying that. I'm hearing us saying exactly what the Child Protection Authority should be doing. Not just providing counseling and assistance for both, for one child, but for both children. And what the
Yes.
Child Protection Authority also um, supposed to be doing, and what she says uh, they actually did, was to sort of bring the parents together, but there seemed to have been some breakdown with the interface between both parents, from what she said, based on the reaction of the other child's parent. So that's what I'm hearing her saying. Now, what I'm getting from all of this is that the greatest sense of injustice, and correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Edwards,
Yes.
is that she feels that, listen, out of all of this, she was charged with an offense, and as a result of being charged with the offense, to which she said that she pleaded guilty,
Right.
she was fined $1,500. Now the issue is whether or not whether the fine was too high, whether or not she should have been fined. But that is based. I can't comment on that because that's based on what was before the court at
Right.
the time. And what I'm also hearing us saying is that the Child Protection Authority was supposed to generate a report for the court as ordered by the court. Ms. Edwards, is that correct? That the child, either social services or the Child Protection Authority, was supposed to do a report from the court to the court?
I think so because when it was requested that the children should have gotten the Child Protection Authority should take part and investigate the matter. It was supposed to be so.
Right. So, so,
Right.
so
So, Junior, what I'm saying,
mhm.
what I'm saying from her version, and I'm not saying it from any other version, we all ought to be concerned about the children
Sure.
involved in all of this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The parents, we all ought to be concerned. The parents also ought to be concerned about it. What we don't know is what happened in court that led to the fine. We know
Right.
as far as she was charged, she pleaded guilty to an offense. She was represented by a lawyer, and a fine of $1,500 was imposed. That
Right.
much we know. And because of that, it has added to the feeling of injustice because she
She been
feels
double.
that she's out to defend her daughter. She
Right.
gets charged in the process.
Right.
And so she feels a greater sense of injustice.
So
So
here
what
what we're
did
gonna
I
do.
say?
I
Sorry?
I I understand, and I'm speaking with Edwards right now. I feel your pain, and I understand the frustration that you're going through. I want to work on the question of the fine right now. How long do you have to before you pay off that fine? What's the time limit?
So I was told at the end of this month I have to pay the $5,000 from now till the end.
Hold on,
So the
$5,000 or 1,500?
not 500, no 500.
You
So
got
the magistrate said I have 1 month to pay the $500 and 6 months to pay the 1,000.
okay, all right.
So 1 month 500 and the 6 months 1,000.
Okay, I want to be result based. This is not just for talking and this. I mean, I want to help, you know, and I want to see how you could get past this, so you could go ahead and you know protect your kids and be there for your kids. So we're gonna help you with some funds, to pay off that fine, right? And I'm
Thank you
sure
very
that there have been others who commented, who called and willing to help as well. Um,
much.
that being said,
Mhm.
and that being understood and very clear, and and you understanding the fact that you know what you did. I mean, beating the child was not something that you
Was
should
wrong.
have done,
That's right. Yes.
right? And that is clear,
Yes.
and it's not something that you would continue to do.
Of course not. I regret I did it. I mean, it's because of my frustration and upset the baby angriness is why I did. And at the same time, I did beat my children and I come down to complain to his mother. I didn't live with intention to beat him. I only beat him because I get more angry when he answered. So I sorry for it.
Right.
It was not intentional. Yeah.
And we're not justifying that action because Ruggles said it a lot of times. Two wrongs will make a right. We're not justifying it. We're just gonna be helping you. And if there's anyone that want to help you to do that, fine. But I think
Well,
you should.
and to her credit, Junior, and I
Yeah.
don't think that should be lost. She has said, "Listen, I was angry. I ought not to have done it." And so, in other words, it's a lesson for all. And
Yeah.
what these incidents speak to is not just about what an individual went through, but the lessons that come out of it, and understanding what the law is, because at the end of the day, that is what one has to deal with, is
Right.
what the law, and a better understanding of the law would help all. And that's it's not based on what people might think what the law should be.
Right.
Simply put, that's what the law is. So I can only speak about what the law is. I will have my personal view about
Right.
what it should be.
Right.
And as an agent for change, always advocate for change. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm limited to say what it is. And
Yeah.
some of the challenges that individuals face when they go to court. And that's why I am such a big proponent of mediation, for example, because what mediation does is to bring parties together, allow them to engage across a table, allow them to vent, but at the end of the day, that you have some resolution to matters.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I saw some comments there that was targeted to Ruggles. I find was very ignorant. I don't think that Ruggles is
Well,
with
well, I
police.
don't bother with them, and I don't
I,
bother with these comments. You know,
I,
um,
Ruggles
I,
is not protecting the police. Ruggles is not protecting. Ruggles is a lawyer. All right, and you guys have to understand that this is not the case of when it's in court. It's not a case of public opinion. It's about the case of law. Now we can sit here and I could say all that I want to say, or this is not right and this shouldn't happen and this shouldn't work. But when it goes to court, it's about evidence and what could be proven in court. Ruggles is a lawyer, right? So me and Ruggles is going to speak from two different perspective, right? I could run my mouth from now until thy kingdom come. I might influence the court of public opinion, but that doesn't mean that it would influence the judiciary when you sit in front of the judge, right? That doesn't mean I could persuade the judge. So Ruggles is keen on law, and that's what he protects, and that's why I have Ruggles on the program every time, because he is very keen and very precise as it relates to the law. So Ruggles is not protecting no police guys. That's not Ruggles' position, all right. And so
yes,
I
well,
would hope they don't make this kind of comments and feel like that
well,
is
yes, at the end, well, I'm happy you made that comment, Junior, because at the end of the day, where I get strength from is not following the crowd, because we all know what following the crowd could be. I can come here and say what I think people love to hear. But if
right.
you invite me on the program to say what the law is, then that what I'm constrained to tell you what the law is,
Yeah,
and to explain to the best of my own ability as to what the law is. And you see, if you if one wants to go down the that track and take an emotional approach to it, because the same people who make comments, they may have kids, and if they find themselves in a particular position, they would want their voice to be heard. We all know that they will want their side of the story to come out.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
the whole thing is not to take advantage of Mrs. Edwards's position, to put her in a worse position, and when she's in that worse position, everybody runs.
Yeah,
But to assist in guiding her, she says, listen, I have had this problem, and it's all our duty to assist her and to guide her as best as possible. So
right.
if she comes here, and I would say would commend her for this part of it, is that she say, listen, on reflection, I ought not to have done that. I should have done it differently.
Right.
So that's what is important. We all learn from these experiences.
Yes,
There may be experiences of other individuals, but that doesn't mean that we can't learn from them.
absolutely. And
And
I think it's an experience. That's what it is. It's a learning experience. So listen to what we're gonna do, Ms. Edwards. We're gonna help you with some funds to pay that fine off, and I'm sure other riders and anyone else that's watching that want to assist her to get rid of that fine. She is, not in a position right now that she could do it. I'm just saying, I don't know her pocket, but I'm saying we could help. So if you guys could jump in any little thing to help her, let's do that. We're gonna do that so she could get that done. She promised that she won't continue, or she won't do what she learned from what was done, and she won't do it again. And that was a learning experience for her. So let's see what we could do. We could contact her. If anyone want to contact her, they could give me a call, and I'll give you guys the number. You could contact her, and if you want to make a donation or assistance, whatever, you could do that. Let's wrap it up because we are at time. Miss Edwards, any last words before we wrap up?
Right. So, according to what Mr. Ferguson would have said, the rest of the video concerning the rest of the allegation made against the policeman, I should take it forward to the police commissioner, right? Is that what he was saying?
yes, whatever is the allegation that you made there, then you should bring it to the attention of the police commissioner. Right, that's what I'm saying. You should bring it directly to his attention and let a proper investigation be done into the matter.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. And at the end of the day, it's about the child. So we're very concerned about counseling and assistance for that child. I'm very concerned about counseling for that child, and we need justice for the child. And if there is anything that could be done for the recourse, I think we should look into justice for that child, right? I don't know if Ruggles or whoever your representative might have been that could look deeper into it and see what justice looks like for you, and see if we could proceed with that. That has been done. We're talking about getting assistance for the fine. What else? What else? What else? Any closing words, Miss Edwards, before we wrap up?
Well, I want to say thanks to all the people that would have commented, and thanks, show their support. Thanks for all who would have viewed the video, show the empathy. Thanks to you, Junior, for the big part that you would have played, and to everybody everywhere that has viewed and shared the video, for all the love and the support, the people that is going to help and those that has already helped. Everything. I just want to give thanks and praise to God for all what He has done, and thank the people. And I hope and pray that in the future, parents could have looked back on my experience, not just with the child, but everything in relation to my video, so they would know what step of action that they should take to eliminate such a situation in our future, in the future, anything concerning it. So
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. And Ruggles, closing words from you, sir?
Yes, Junior, what all of this revolves around is again conflict management, and the way we treat and manage with conflict as institutions. Obviously, whatever the end result, whatever was done, you still have somebody who is dissatisfied. It's not always the case where you have everybody satisfied, but one has to be very sensitive when complaints of this nature is made, and hopefully the authorities will investigate it and ensure that the child victim is not damaged, and to ensure that there is proper counseling for both parties, including the child aggressor in this case. What I would advise, notwithstanding what the majority comments may be, is that when you have allegations against individuals, then it's important that you channel it through the right authority as best as possible, that one avoids calling names. As I said, every case has two sides, and it is important to hear what the other side of the story is. But I hope that in moving forward, that all parties find some common ground and common and some satisfaction with the intervention of the appropriate authorities in this matter. And I refer here specifically in relation to the Child Protection Authority, and in relation to the police, the Commissioner of Police and the own internal structure.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. We opening up the phone line and keeping the phone lines active so you could call in. Ruggles will keep in touch.
Sure.
Mr. Edwards will keep in touch. We appreciate you, and we're gonna make that donation to help you out there. All right. Let's open up the phone line, guys. 718-701-5720. Let me know what you guys think about what you heard here today.
I feel like being
Give me a perspective, right? Let me know what you understood, what you don't understand from a legal perspective. Um, do you think that, do you understand where Ruggles was coming from? Right? So give us a call. Let us talk. 718-701-5720. That's the number on the screen.
morning, I had a reason.
718-701-5720. Give us a call right now. Someone messaged me earlier and they said also that they were in some kind of similar situation where they went through the process, and there was some kind of kids involved, and they got so upset because they don't think that the law was working for them. They went ahead and approached the child, and they themselves end up getting charged. It's kind of similar to the story right here. Let's jump to the phone lines. Caller, your live. Where you calling us from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Grenada.
Go ahead, Grenada.
I didn't. So I've listened extensively to the entire program, and I would have said here from my knowledge of things that I think the counseling was sort of a setup, a form of dealing with the situation based on the fact that there are two minors involved.
Right.
And as you say, it's another situation where you could have go and charge the parent of the male child who is alleged to have sexually assaulted or so the female. So, as you said, I would just think the counseling part of it as a form of going forward and sort of a resolving in the matter. But there and then again, as Ms. Edwards would have said, the situation where the parent of the male child,
right,
would have been hesitant to come together one-on-one. After all is said and done, it had happened already, irrespective of your feeling about the beating and whatever. There's a situation, there's a time here for you come together as parents, speak it over, and get, as we say, an amicable solution going forward.
Right.
To the situation. But you are hesitant. And then, I'll be quite honest, I respect the justice system. But unfortunately, I think that Mr. Edwards was met with a very, very rough and rugged situation. And I'm thinking here where she said that she's been to court several times before.
Right.
With regards to, I guess, different situations. And, we are all human, magistrates, judges, and so. And at some point, I am made to believe that the magistrate would have taken a harsh decision in the judgment against Miss Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, maybe at the moment you and I not known.
Well, we don't know that for a fact.
Yeah?
We don't know that for a fact.
Right, yeah.
That could be speculated, but we certainly don't know that for a fact. Because one, we were not in the court to see the evidence that was presented. We don't have a picture to say, okay, that was the what the assault looked like on the child. We don't really have all the evidence, so we cannot say that the magistrate made an error in judgment because we simply don't know what and how she came or he or she came to that final judgment. But I get your point, caller. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, so, good. So at the same time, I'm saying here, as I said, I have empathy with the situation because of the video. Looked at it prior to you doing your part, as she was thankful for. And I'm saying going forward to parents, I think that far often, these are things that are going to be occurring in our societies. Yeah, it's not going to go away. We are born and met it that way.
Right.
And so, when it comes to situation of minors involving in activities, be it stealing, coming together and stealing or whatever, I call on parents to be much more mindful of coming together and dealing with the situation in terms of cutting, as we say, nipping the buds before they grow into bigger and so. Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to.
Appreciate that. Jump to the caller again. Next caller on the WhatsApp. Guys, you could also call us directly at 718-701-5720. Caller, you're live. Where are you calling us from? Okay, that caller hung up. Again, guys, we're taking your call. Let us know what you think about the whole situation here. I mean, this video got a lot of attention over the weekend. And as I said in the video that I did earlier this weekend, that where the kids and them getting them kind of vibe from? Yeah? Where them kids and them getting them kind of vibe from? But somebody messaged me today, right? And they said to me that it is so right because we have kids these days. They are so taken up by social media, and not even social media, they have a unlimited access to all this content, whether it's access to pornography content or adult-rated content, all of these things they have access. Because I don't see how a what a 9-year old, 7-year old, they just know where they're getting that from. They have to see it from somewhere. They have to see it from somewhere. We as parents have to be careful of the access that we give and how we guard the access that we give. It can't be unlimited. Can't be unlimited. The iPad cannot raise our kids. The tablet can't raise your kids. There's still parenting to do. We still have to be parents. We still have to regulate. We still have to, guard the content and access to the content. So it's important. Let's go in there. 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Well, let me know what your reaction on this case right here. Again, it's a very emotional charged discussion, but I like the fact that we could have break it down into different pieces so we can understand all the perspective, right? Someone calling and playing peekaboo with me on the phone lines. All right, again, guys, 718-701-5720. We're taking your call right now, live on the line. Let us know what you think about the story. Let us know what you think about what's your reaction to this. Let us know what you think the mother should do from here, right? The parent, the parent of the boy child. I mean, how could we remedy this? How could the parents come together and see how they could remedy it for both, the 9-year-old and the 6-year-old? Let us talk. 718-701-5720. Lacey J saying that. Let me see what Lacey J saying. In this case, the son behavior is modeled after the parent. We don't know that for a fact. As I said, kids just have too much flipping access. I firmly believe that. Parents sometimes nowadays, parents give their children a tablet or a computer, and the tablet raise them. The tablet raising the kids. Yeah. Social media raising the kids. And then we have parents who very young parents. And parents who have to work 2 and 3 jobs, so they don't have the time, the parenting time. So all the kids know is access to social media and the sites that they frequent. Caller, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Grenada.
Go right ahead, Grenada.
Yes, I'm just calling. I kind of concerned about that little boy, because what I'm saying is that if the child believe what he did was right, if the parents give him that kind of feeling, then what we are having in the system, because this little boy, not only the mother should be charged, but this little boy needs serious help, because he will keep doing that kind of activity, because if the parents is behaving in that manner towards the little girl mother, then he's feeling that he has support. So they need to get this little boy and still keep him in counseling, continue the counseling, because he will grow up with that in his mind, that he could do that and get away with it again.
Yeah. Now that's an important point. If you don't correct the child at this point in time of his life, he might feel that is a justifiable act, and that might be where they say we're creating a monster. Because I always believe, and I'm not saying that this is a charge. This is a final charge, because he has not been charged for it. But if that is the case of what happened, and he's not corrected, and some kind of way dealt with, then that's what we see now. We see big men grow up with that kind of idea that they could just do whatever they want sexually to women and feel like they could get away with it. So it needs to have a mechanism to correct these behaviors. And I agree with you. It cannot be something where nothing happens. Absolutely nothing happens. Because it starts small and it would escalate. So point taken there, caller. 718-701-5720. We're taking your call live. Let us know what you think about the story. Let us know what you think about what transpired and the emotional video, the emotional charge video. I know someone just messaged me there and they're saying that if we gave the mother the money, then the mother would feel as if that we are condoning her behavior. And let me just defend that. We supporting her is not condoning what she did to the child. We're not saying, yeah, go ahead and do it again, right? I feel that she learned from that experience. She pled guilty for it, right? And that just an assistance to just clear that and so she could move on. So that is our reasoning why we will support the mother. I would, tell people, if they could participate and help the mother in any way, feel free to do that. Inbox us and we'll give you her information and you can make the call directly and speak with her. All right. Again, we open up the phone line 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Give us a call right now on the live 718-701-5720.
I feel like I feel so.
Monitor what the children look at. That is important. That is important, guys. And as parents, we need to do that. We need to be very attentive to what our children look at. We need to be attentive to that.
He provides my needs each and every day. So when
Chris Ann Humphrey said that the boy could have been molested. We have no evidence of that. But based on shows that we have before, we had situations where they say that someone in their 40s, I remember he was a former pedophile and we had him on the program and he told a story that when he was 4 years old he was molested and he grew up, he's 40 years old and then he molested a 4-year-old and people would say, well, what the hell, when he was done to you, you didn't like it, but you grew up to be a big man and you did it to someone at that age. And psychologists, when they analyze this whole situation, they have a psychological reasoning behind that. Yeah. But anyway, we're not justifying that action, guys, and we're asking parents. I'm going to wrap it up here. We're asking parents to be aware of what their children look at. Be aware of what sites the children frequent. Be very aware of what's happening in your kid's life. Don't let your tablet or your TV or YouTube raise your children for you. You still have to be parents at the end of the day. All right, you still have to be parents. All right. All right, guys, this is the end. We're gonna wrap it up right here. But before we wrap it up, you guys have to do my song. We have to do this song every time before we wrap up. Everything with me right now. Let me start it up from the beginning. Prince Kareem, how you doing? How you doing, my brother? All right, guys. All right, this is my wrap-up song. I feel like beat my chest. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being a part of our program today. I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. Don't forget, Ridealong Live, where everyone have a story to tell. If you have a story to tell, you could inbox us. Also, we gotta hold on before we sing the song. I gotta big up our sponsors, the people who made it all possible so we could be here today. All Pro Health Lab for COVID-19 test. They come to you. PCR test in 30 minutes or 24 hours for travel and for work. Call All Pros Health Lab right now at 516-387-4246.
The big man of my back. The most I have my back. Man, I feel so blessed. Man, I feel like beating my chest. I feel like I feel so free. Man, nobody happy like me. I feel like
Also, I gotta tell you, hold on, before I go.
Each and every day.
Also, we got to big up Care Transition Clinic. That's Care Transition Clinic. They are accessible. You could call them right now. Care Transition Clinic. Let me pull that flyer back up. Let me pull that flyer back up. Oh Lord, where's that information? Hold on, guys. Let me tell you about Care Transition Clinic. Care Transition Clinic, laboratory service, diabetes service, COVID-19 testing, chronic disease. Call them at 473-535-0307. Alright? Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for being a part of our program. Catch me again tomorrow. Peace out. Good night.
Confident. I feel like I family and friends who support me till the end. I feel like what more do you want? What more do you need? If you're not satisfied, I know that is greed. What more do you want? What more do you need? If you're not satisfied, go back on your knees.
Subscribe to us on YouTube, guys. Click the link and subscribe to us on YouTube. Catch you guys again tomorrow. Peace out. Good night.
I know that Father God bless me, and that's without a doubt. So if you know that Father God bless you, let your praises come out. Sing, oh, see a banga, see a banga. Give thanks to the Father. Everybody, oh yeah, see a banga, see a banga. He is my provider. My back, my back, my back. The most I have my back, my back, my back. The big man have my back, my back, my back. The most I have my back, 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 back. That's why I feel I beat my chest. I feel I beat my chest. I feel I beat my chest. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I feel I beat my chest. I feel I beat.
Williams Funeral Service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-3823.
Feeling hungry, grab a snack. Caribbean food delight. Jamaican patties, light and flaky. Caribbean food delight. Taste the difference. Caribbean food delight. Grab a patty, take a bite. Caribbean food delight. Quick and easy, grab a patty, take a bite. Caribbean food delight.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to TD Bank, where you'll find the personalized attention you deserve and the legendary experience you expect. Let's do business. If you are a medical or dental practitioner, contact me to hear about our tailored lending solutions for residential mortgages, equipment purchases, practice-related commercial mortgages and refinance. Visit me at 500 Baychester Avenue to hear more about our full range of personal and small business banking solutions. See you soon.